We're in my basement, and we've had a unique history together where we do a lot of design meetings, and especially in the early days, Eric, you and I were in my old house in the basement. I remember when, I think it was just so funny because Mark Zuckerberg for a period of time was like saying he could change a diaper than everybody. I would say right now, I would race Mark Zuckerberg in 2 seconds. I would destroy him. I have 6 kids. Zuckerberg's probably got 8 nannies taking care of his babies. I can change and swaddle a baby.
You're also a surgeon. You're used to
That's fair enough.
Used to surgical. There's a surgical technique.
I cannot change a diaper yet that I'm aware of. Okay, so let's get into those basement sessions. It was special for me because I appreciated the fact that as a busy surgeon with a family, you would come and we'd get in the basement and then we'd just start mapping stuff out. We'd have a nice glass of wine, but that really frees things to not be in a rigid environment. That was unconventional. You spent time at Wright Medical. Those basement sessions, I think they were special. Do you agree?
They were amazing. And I can remember the first time, like when we started talking and then Tim said, hey, we're going to go to Dr. Minigini's, basement and stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like we do design meetings at hotels and at, company events and whatever. And it was so unorthodox, but it was unbelievable because for the reasons you said. One, you were able to do the things that I've really admired about you over the years, which is you were able to balance the family side with the unbelievable schedule
that you have. It helped me because I didn't have to travel.
Exactly.
I could go up and sleep in my own bed and be with my kids later, and I could be with the kids before it, like I did tonight.
Right, exactly. So just as a human standpoint, I always respected
and
that.
I appreciated that you guys were willing to do that.
For sure. But I would say in addition to that, just like the amount of conversation that we had and the efficiency that we worked through it. But we have countless books of all of the drawings that you made, and you grab the book from me and you start drawing out a hip stem or a knee stem, and probably one of the most rewarding things is going back and looking at that now and seeing those drawings that started back in 16, and all of a sudden then we see the products that we eventually launched and the patients that they benefit from that. And I know you've lived that in previous lives and with bigger companies and all that kind of stuff.
Helpful, but at least you brought the proper the book you had nice. It was the proper squares. It wasn't like you brought a Mead like 4th grade book to the meeting, so that's good. You did bring the right stuff, which is good. And you're right. The books, I love looking back at it because literally we were just sketching stuff out in the basement.
Yeah, and those things turned into not just products, but they turned into patentable ideas and things that we've been able to protect and offer up. So it's unbelievable going back and looking at that stuff. But it's a testament to you think about what do you want to work with a surgeon, and that's one of the things I did learn from my earlier part of my career. I always wanted somebody that I shouldn't say but we always talked about we wanted surgeons that for one could think beyond their own OR. Think beyond their own practice. Like, can they see what the market needs beyond what works for them? And so finding somebody like you and some of the other great surgeons we worked with was really representative of that. The other thing is finding somebody that, could disrupt, that could, not just develop and design and think about status quo, but how do you go do something, that could disrupt the market, and not in a way that people don't want to buy it either, right? People can come up with some really crazy ideas that nobody's ever going to use, but coming up with ideas of things that meet a real need and that we can convince others and are willing to stand up at the podium and ask the tough questions and make the big statements and things like that.
Well, part of it for me, in all fairness, in the infection space, is because I treated so much infection, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a company that I can actually innovate with an infection. That was great. I didn't know at the time, and so part of it, yes, I'm not afraid to disrupt, as you know, and I'm willing to get up at the podium and say things not a lot of people will. That's fine. That's one thing. I was also ignorant because I didn't realize a huge chunk of my colleagues were in some fund around infection.
Right.
So I didn't understand why some of the attacks were almost personal. Well, I didn't know. No one told me that some of my colleagues to my left and my right were all in a fund competing against us. I didn't know that. I was blind to it, right? It was never really disclosed. I'd be up there. I'm a consultant for OsteoRemedies and get hit. But like, Jesus Christ, what is happening, right? Well, I didn't know, but now I know. So now I know when I get up there and I'm going to talk about some infection, I bring my Kevlar vest and I get up there and we get after it. But it's a different sign.
No
but
doubt.
but that's where real innovation happens, right?
Yeah.
That you sit down with people you like.
Yeah.
I think, for me, you open up a glass of red wine, you sit there and you start talking, let free flowing happen, you get a pen, you start sketching stuff out, and I think it's been great. I appreciate that. That's been a very rewarding experience for even me personally and professionally to be able to do that.
For sure.
To do that with you.
And I will thank you. And it's obviously the same for me, but I will say that the third component is the other thing you just said, which is, when you're going to find somebody that you're going to work with in these situations where we're spending a lot of time at meetings and in basement sessions and whatever, find somebody that you want to spend time with, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
We used to talk about go find a surgeon consultant that you'd go have a beer with or enjoy a dinner with or whatever. And I think that's critical because you do spend so much time together. And if you don't have some of that, what's the point?
If you're going to
of
be
it?
away from your family,
Right?
You want it, and I think you sort of self-select anyway, right? People
Probably.
gravitate towards that, I think.
Yeah.
But those early basement sessions were awesome, right? The writing stuff down. Now, I think in full disclosure, our basement sessions have evolved, right? So now